You're packing the last box. You hear the engine start. You don't cry. You just feel hollow. The door closes. The silence hits. It's heavier than any fight you ever had. You stare at the empty space. Your mind starts racing. Is this really it? Did I ask for too much? Maybe I should have stayed quiet. Am I broken for needing this much closeness? Will they even notice I'm gone? You're not failing at love. Honestly, every couple that has ever loved deeply has stood exactly where you're standing. The relationship didn't get harder because your love faded. It got harder because your safety did. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what shifts inside them when you finally walk away. You'll see why their silence feels so heavy. You'll stop blaming yourself for needing more. Let's get into it. Most couples believe that leaving an avoidant means you finally break the cycle. But the real truth is, walking away doesn't break the pattern. It reveals it. Your absence doesn't trigger indifference. It triggers a silent nervous system audit. When safety leaves a room, the love doesn't disappear. It goes underground. What looks like coldness is usually someone who has been flooded for years. Retreat is the only shelter they know. Your partner's nervous system reads you before their mind catches up. And this is the one most couples never figure out. The moment you step back, their internal architecture begins to shift. Not louder conversations, not more compromising, not scheduling weekly check-ins, but a slow reckoning with a connection they finally feel safe enough to miss. You're not watching them detach, you're watching them recalibrate. This is where it gets really interesting. Let's map exactly what happens beneath the surface. 1. The phantom safety alarm. Here's the part no one talks about. Most couples assume distance means emotional detachment, but the attachment circuitry tells a completely different story. You leave, your body expects relief. Their body registers absence as threat. Their nervous system fires a silent alarm. It scans the empty hallway. It notices the missing routines. The quiet becomes deafening fast. And here's what changes everything. Their avoidance was never about you. It was a biological shield against the terror of being fully known. When you walk away, the shield drops. Not out of strategy, out of nervous system necessity. You'll hear the quiet stories later. You'll notice the sudden urge to reach out. Most couples miss this completely. They think silence means moving on, but their body is actually rebuilding baseline safety. I need space to figure this out alone. I'm feeling overwhelmed, but I don't want to shut you out. I just need an hour to reset. And when that shift finally lands, the walls between you start to come down without either of you having to say a word. 2. The curiosity awakening. Most people in relationships believe closure requires final, perfect words. Real emotional availability operates entirely differently. You step back. You create clean boundaries. Their mind begins searching for answers they never asked for. They replay your last conversations. They trace the exact moments they pulled away. It isn't nostalgia driving them. It's a delayed nervous system download. They're looking at your patterns differently now. They see your boundaries as strength. They see your patience as grace. Most couples wait for a dramatic apology. But what they're actually doing is mapping the connection they finally understand. She actually chose herself this time. That's what I should have done years ago. That's the quiet internal monologue. This isn't a communication hack. This is just what two emotionally mature people naturally do when they stop running from the truth. And when that clarity settles, your partner stops feeling like a problem to manage and starts feeling like a person to come home to. 3. The grief disguised as calm. Most couples read emotional quiet as relationship indifference. Beneath the surface, something entirely different is unfolding. You walk out. You expect heavy tears. Instead, you meet a strange stillness. It isn't peace. It's a delayed nervous system collapse. Their body is finally processing the weight they carried for years. They aren't shutting down. They're soaking it in. The exhaustion catches up. The longing surfaces. The unspoken tension becomes visible. Most couples mistake this integration for apathy. It's actually emotional digestion. They're learning to sit with discomfort. They're feeling the real cost of their own walls. They're discovering that presence requires more courage than distance ever did. I'm fine. Everything's handled. I'm actually exhausted from pretending I don't care. I do care. I'm just scared of it. That's the raw truth breaking through. And when you honor that pace, the relationship stops feeling like a negotiation and starts feeling like a refuge. 4. The mirror effect. This is where it gets really interesting. Most people believe absence simply teaches patience. It actually forces brutal self-reflection. You leave. You hold your ground. They finally look at themselves without your presence softening the edges. Their habits get loud. Their patterns get visible. Their emotional shortcuts stop working. It's deeply uncomfortable. It's exactly what healing requires. Most couples try to fix the outside dynamics, but the real work happens in the quiet. They see how they redirected intimacy. They see how they confused independence with isolation. They see the anxious avoidant cycle clearly for the first time. I kept pushing him away so I wouldn't have to feel how badly I wanted him to stay. That's the moment the armor cracks. Emotional distance in a relationship isn't like a wall. It's like scar tissue that forms slowly over 100 small moments that never got repaired. And when that realization fully lands, you both finally get to build something real instead of managing a fantasy. 5. The repair impulse. Most couples expect grand gestures after a painful exit. Real repair looks entirely different. You step back. You don't shrink. You don't chase. Their nervous system finally stops fighting the truth. They want to fix the rupture. Not with empty promises, with steady presence. They notice the small details they missed. They want to listen without defending. They want to stay instead of escaping. It isn't manipulation. It's a genuine turning toward. Most couples wait for flawless execution, but they're actually just learning to tolerate closeness without panic. They're practicing emotional regulation. They're showing up without expecting immediate forgiveness. I don't need to solve this tonight. I just need to stay here and listen. That's the new baseline. And when you witness that shift, the exhausting drift reverses and the connection finds its natural gravity again. 6. The identity unraveling. Here's the part no one talks about. Most people believe leaving an avoidant means erasing shared history. It actually rewrites the foundation. You walk away, you reclaim your narrative. Their self-concept begins to wobble. They built their identity on needing absolutely no one. That story just collapsed. The foundation shakes. The walls feel incredibly heavy. They realize independence isn't strength. It's just loneliness wearing a confident face. Most couples fear this internal collapse, but it's necessary ground. They're meeting the parts of themselves they avoided for years. They're facing the scared child who learned to hide to survive. They're learning to love without disappearing. I spent so long building walls, I completely forgot I actually wanted a home. That's the profound reckoning. And when you allow that space to breathe, you both become the kind of partner you always wanted someone to be for you. 7. The quiet return. Most couples think the cycle finally ends when the avoidant physically comes back. True healing begins when the relational dynamic actually shifts. You hold the line. You don't chase validation. You don't shrink your needs. They return, not out of guilt, out of clear-headed clarity. They've felt the weight of your absence. They've tasted the emotional emptiness. They've chosen presence over panic. This isn't a tactical move. It's a nervous system upgrade. Most couples rush into reunion out of relief, but you're choosing a slower, steadier pace. You're demanding consistency over intensity. You're building safety over speed. I finally understand that love isn't about winning space. It's about willingly sharing it. That's the mature realization. And when you both operate from that truth, the painful patterns fade, and the relationship becomes the sanctuary it was always meant to be. This isn't a relationship checklist. It's an invitation to show up differently. That changes everything about what's possible between you and the person you chose. When you internalize this truth, you stop reacting to silence and start responding to the nervous system underneath it. Your partner will feel the difference before you've even said a word. These aren't tricks for avoiding conflict. They're the beginning of becoming the kind of emotionally available partner you always deserved. You don't have to carry the entire weight of their healing. You just have to hold your ground long enough for truth to find you. The relationship you actually want starts the moment you stop waiting for them to become safe and decide to be the person who finally brings safety with you.